Red Ninetales 95 here from Crash Love Gaming, or Jay from Team Wonderbread. I'm here with my deck profile for 3rd place Timonium Regional. All day I pretty much played my best matchups, and that's how I just wrecked the whole regionals. I really thought I was going to win this regional event, but round 6 we had a couple like repairings and deck treks that kind of just threw me off my balance, and I lost that round. But other than that, I felt pretty comfortable with my deck. The main cards that helped me win the regional event were, first off, Wind Barrier Statue was like the best card I've ever played, because anytime I opened it and went first, I won. Like 90% of my matchups that I had this card, I just won the match. And anytime I went second, I didn't draw it. So that's how you don't brick, I guess. Ties of the Brethren, another really good card. Like, this shouldn't even be a card right now. I feel like it's not going to be a 3 for long, because anytime I opened it too, it was just, you open 3 Majespecters and 4 back row. And what do you really do to get over that if you don't play a lot of heavy back row removal? Throughout the day, my main matchups were 3 BAs in my first 4 rounds. I pretty much beat them with Barrier Statue and trap cards to protect it. My round 1 was like Train BA, which I thought was pretty cool. I'd never seen it before. They dumped their card with the field spell to get a BA effect off, and they had the train. I was really glad he didn't drop any trains on me, because I don't know what I would have done if he put a train down to climb it, other than maybe lightning. Round 2 I played against Blue Eyes. He let me go first after he knew what I was playing, which I thought was weird, but I guess they really want that 6th card. But I just established a decent enough board that he really couldn't do much. I won that one 2-1, because I just managed to keep his Sage and Blue Eyes off the field game 3, and game 1 I just sat on Barrier Statue, and he couldn't really summon anything to climb it. And then round 3 I played against BA again, just pretty much sat on Barrier Statue, won that one 2-0. Round 4 I played against Herald. Game 1 he misplayed, he tried to Gem Knight Fusion, and he had the field spell that he could have made Herald plays with, but he decided to Gem Knight Fusion and pass. And then game 2 he just kind of heralded all over the place. He dropped 2 heralds, and I couldn't do much to climb that. And then game 3 I believe I opened Ties and Barrier Statue. So I just sat on Barrier Statue, and he Pot of Desires most of his normal summonable outs to it. And anytime he had a normal summonable out, I had the Tornado set or some other kind of trap that could deal with it. Round 4 I played against Heroes. Pretty much Heroes. I sat on Barrier Statue game 1, and he summoned Goblinberg to attack over it, and I had the trap to get rid of it. Game 2 he dropped Darklaw, which is a little bit difficult to play against, but I opened up like 5 settable cards and a Fox, so I wasted the Darklaw on that and then flipped Ties, and pretty much took care of his Darklaw with Sonics, which is another really good card that I played, was Majespecter Sonics. A lot of the Majespecter players down there weren't playing it, but I still like the card because it helps you get over problem monsters that can't be targeted, and it also lets you keep your monster where you don't have to tribute it, which I thought was another really good thing. So you get to use like Sonics and a Tornado, or Sonics and Cyclone, or Sonics and Tempest, any of those. Then I played against Pepe. That was the round where it pretty much was really sucky, because I was going against BA first and opened up a really good hand. He just had a Beatrice on board, and I had like Ties, Bumboku, and the field spell. And then they repaired us, so I sat down against a Pepe player, and I rolled and won the die roll, but then they deck checked us, so we re-rolled, and he got to go first and just dropped like Dinoster, Ignister, into a Harbinger, and like 3 other monsters, and I just really couldn't do much against that board without Raigeki. So then game 2, I went first, and really didn't open that great. I think it was like Barrier Statue, Strike, and Tempest, and it was the best play I had, and I tried to hold out for as long as I could, but he eventually just beat me down with too many plays. Then the next round I played against Majespecter, which was my first mirror match of the day, and it went pretty well. Game 1 I won the die roll, so game 1 I just tiesed him and won. Game 2 he tiesed me and won. Game 3 I tiesed him and won. That's pretty much how the mirror match went. Also, the Pepe player the round before, I actually almost beat him with the Windberry Statue opening play, but he had the Odd Eyes Fusion to get out of it, because Vortex is a win, which really was the only play he had at that point. Then round 8, I played against Cosmo, and I just pretty much savaged him with ties both games. He got really mad and didn't even sign the match slip because he couldn't do anything against Barrier Statue and ties. Then the last round I played the mirror match again. We both pretty much had the kind of same build. He played a different ratio and he played the Odd Eyes engine, which I didn't play because I didn't really play test a lot. I literally just built a deck because I was told Majespecter was probably my best bet to win with. So I got help from Chocolate Swirl on the team and Boss Panda. They helped me build my deck, and I built what I thought was the best build to go down there and got third, so I guess it was pretty good. But round 1, I won because he won the die roll and he ties me and had a decent board, so I just kind of had to push through that, and once I got through that, I out-resourced him. And then game 2, he ties me and I just really couldn't do much against him. And then game 3, I ties that one and had enough advantage that I could just hang on, and then I out-resourced him with his Odd Eyes engine, and he ended up top decking the Odd Eyes field spell with nothing else. So that was pretty much how my day went. I went X1. I really wish that my round 6 would have went differently because I feel like I had a really strong chance of going defeated, and that just kind of messed up with my mojo. But other than that, I feel like I did pretty good the whole day. So move on to the deck profile. So first off, we have 3 Majespecter Raccoon Bumboku. The Searcher of the deck, Stratos, really good card. Pretty much any game I opened that, which happened a lot, I usually had enough advantage that I could keep up with whatever I was playing against. Then we have Majespecter Cat. Honestly, I was worried a lot during the event that I would miss that effect a lot more than I did, and I did miss it a couple times, which the matches I did miss it didn't cost me too much, but it did cost me a couple times. But also the Skarm of the deck, and then you got 3 Majespecter QB. Play it for ties, and also you search the traps out, which are the main part of the deck. You tribute and have a Solemn Strike, retribute, and banish a monster on the field. 3 Ogama. You just play 3 of it for ties, and to drop, you can set the spell or trap. So one time it actually did become relevant that he could set spells too, because I ran out of traps and I just had to set, I believe I set Sonics down behind him. And then I only played 2 Yada because I really didn't like just adding a spell when I only played 2, and if I drew the 1, then I could ties off of it. And the only real problem I had with running 2 was whenever I lustered a Yada and completely forgot that I had them both in my scale, I ended up not being able to ties one time because of that. But other than that, 2 Yada was a pretty solid combination for that, and I didn't brick too much with it. Then I played 2 Eccentric Archfiends. The card's really good. It's a Diamond Dyer on field, and it's an MST in the Pendulum Zone, so I don't understand why people wouldn't want to play this card. A lot of the build I saw were only playing 1, but 2 definitely helped me out of a lot of sticky situations. There's really only like one time I bricked with 2 of them, but even then I used it to get out of like a Lecter in the scale, which could have cost me one of my games against a BA player who sided it. Then the best card of the day, Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds. This card won me 80 to 90% of the games that I opened it, and it's just really good when your opponent can't do anything, and you can set this up with traps behind it and a Majespecter on board. I could see where it would be a brick sometimes when you open it and you can't get it out with a Majespecter monster, but it didn't really happen much with a decent monster lineup I played. And then the last Majespecter monster I played was Unicorn, which I played him as a low scale because I didn't feel like I had enough low scales in the deck, and the time I did summon him, he was definitely really good to have on the field because you can bounce back their monsters, and at worst you can tribute him for the trap or the spell, but you can bring him back if you get the Eccentric in the scale too. And then the last monster I played was Luster Pendulum. I really didn't like this card. I cycled through twice, and like I said, the one time it killed my ties, and I never really dropped him on the board and used him because the one time I Pendulum summoned him out, I summoned the Wind Statue too, so he just kind of sat there and I couldn't make Dinoster or Ignister with him. And really, I never needed Dinoster or Ignister, so he was just in there as a beat stick at that point. And whenever I did draw him, like I said, I put him in the scale a couple times, but didn't really see much use for him throughout the day. So if I would change it, I might take him out. But right now, he's in there at 1 in case I need the Ignister or Dinoster. Next up, we have my spells. I played 3 Majesty's Pegasus. The card is really good, especially when you can open that in ties and a Majespecter monster, so it doesn't matter what Majespecter monster you get, you're going to get 4 searches off that. And it pumps them all up 300. It came up that it pumps up my opponent's monsters too, because my opponent was playing it, and we both had Majesty's Pegasus out, and I had my monsters up by 600 apiece and ended up OTKing them from it with Majespecter monsters. Next up we have Pot of Desires. The card is really good, but honestly I sided it out most games 2 and 3, at least one of them, and then most times all 3 of them, because in this deck I search enough where it's not really as relevant. I don't want to banish combo pieces, but the times I did have it and I bricked and I just drew it, it helped me get out of brick situations because the card's basically pot of greed when you need 2 cards. It also helps whenever like I was top decking and I just top decked that card. It's a lot better than top decking Upstart because then you can draw 2 cards off of it, which I didn't play Upstart because I'm pretty sure I forgot to put it in my build, but then after I thought about it, there wasn't really much room for it. I'm kind of glad I didn't because I really didn't see a need for it throughout the day. Next card is the best card in my deck was Ties of the Brethren. Well, the second best card, the Windberry statue, I guess, but Ties of the Brethren is a really good card. I would have played 3 of it if I had 3. I also would have played Mystical Fairy Alfuria if I had it too, to play with the Bumboku plays. And I just think Ties of the Brethren is a really good card. It only costs 2,000 life points, and you can do all your special summoning before you activate it. There's only one time I did forget once that you couldn't attack that turn, but it didn't really affect it because I just didn't attack after I realized I used it that turn. But the card is really good. It lets you plus so much. You just summon Fox, Yada, or Ogama, and then you activate it and you get 2 more monsters and 2 more searches, which is pretty good. Next up, Terraforming. Just lets me get my Pegasus. If I didn't draw Pegasus, I usually drew Terraforming, which was pretty good. I played, as my Majespecter spells, I played Cyclone, which tributed monster to destroy their monster. The targeting didn't really come up much, but it was really funny. Against one of the BA players, I actually had like Yada and Barrier Statue, so I dropped both of them, added the Cyclone, and then used Cyclone to out his Dante, which had a graph under it. So it pretty much, he couldn't do anything once the Barrier Statue was down. And then Sonics, I played it because it lets you keep your monster and doubles your attack. It's an out to Dark Law, it's an out to Dark Destroyer, which I only played the one Cosmo player, and he didn't even have the Dark Destroyer, but if he did, it's an out to that, and things I just can't target in general. My trap lineup was 3 Tempest, it's Solemn Strike, and it's the best card against Pendulum, so pretty standard there. 2 Tornado. I played 2 inside of the third one because I just didn't want to go up against anything that I couldn't target, like if I mirror matched or I played against Cosmo, which didn't happen much, but if I did, it was just better to have the Tempest in those situations. And it didn't really come up that I only played 2 Tornado. It actually came up more that I only played 2 because of not needing more Tornado than it did because I needed more Tornado. And I usually sided out one of the 2 Tornadoes in the mirror matches just so I wouldn't have that one more dead card to draw. Then I played 2 Solemn Strikes. Solemn Strike is Solemn Strike, that's why I played it. Solemn Warning, and then Vanity's Emptiness. Emptiness actually won me a couple games where I just activated Emptiness and then summoned Majespecters and added cards to protect them, and didn't let Emptiness die. Then next up we have my extra deck. I played the Lightning combo. Never really went into it. I actually only went like 4 of my extra deck monsters, but that was to out anything really big that I couldn't climb. Castel, Abyss Dweller, for the BA matchup. Magister Paladin, had times where I could have went into it, but I would rather kept my Majespecter monsters. Diamond Dyer, Trapeze Magician, I made once, but I actually misplayed the one time I did make it, so he really wasn't relevant at the event. Lightning Chidori, I still think This is one of the best Exceed monsters in the game. Just the fact that he can send one of their set cards to the bottom and send a face up to the top of their deck to set them back a turn. It helped me out a lot, just setting them back that one turn. Even if they did still have like place to search, they didn't get an extra card with that search, because I could control their draw essentially. So I honestly like Chidori more than like Castel, but I could see where there'd be times where I would rather use Castel if I didn't want them to draw that card. But I just really like controlling the draw with that card. And Totem Bird, it's 6 Samurai Sheen, just negate a spell trap, and I made it once against a BA player with Wind Barrier statue, so they wouldn't have an out to it if they did play it. Acid Golem, really just in there for the Trapeze play to OTK him. Grand Pulse, I used once in the mirror match to get rid of his scales and his spell card, or the field spell, and just pretty much why you play that. Break Sword, didn't go into it all day, but was in there if I needed it. Utopic Future, also didn't use it, but I like having it in there since I play a bunch of rank 4s and a bunch of rank 3s, so if I did need it to do something in the game, I could have used it, but I didn't really go into it. And like I said with the Luster, I didn't make Ignister or Dinoster all day, so they were just in there because of the Luster. They just sat there, though.
Would you cut them if you cut the Luster?
I would most definitely cut them, and probably play Cowboy, and I don't know what else I would play over it, but I definitely would play Cowboy at this point, because there was one match where I could have won if I had the Cowboy, but it didn't affect the outcome, it just prolonged the duel by like 1 turn. For my side deck, I played 2 Ghost Ogres. I played it for Pendulum, and that was pretty much, I think, Metal Foe too, it's really good against. I just didn't see any Metal Foe, and the Pendulum deck I did play, I would have rather had the Kaijus and the Max C that I played, which Max C I sided in against everyone, either 1 or 2, if I went second, 2 if I went first, so I actually probably would main deck that card at this point over the Luster, and I would probably main deck 1 and side 1 if I changed up anything with that. Played 2 of the String Kaiju. He is an out to things, and they can't really overlay with him as he's a level 7. I mean, I guess if they're playing a level 7 deck they could, but it didn't really come up a lot. I never even, every time I drew the card, I'm pretty sure I had Wind Barrier statue down defending myself anyway, so I just had a dead Kaiju in hand. Then I played Galaxy Cyclone. Pretty much, I played this over MST because if I mirror match or play any other Pendulum decks, I'd rather banish the cards. And to me, I feel like this card made MST more relevant. Yeah, it's 1,000 life points to use this card, but you can hit any spell trap on the field and just banish it. So, like Paleozoic, I guess you could banish their Paleozoic monsters, or you could hit the Pendulum Scales of Pendulum decks. I also played Secret Village on my side. I sided in once against Blue Eyes when I was going first, but I didn't draw that or Terraforming, so I didn't get to use it. And then I sided it in against Pendulum too, because I feel like if they have to waste their normal summon first before they do their Pendulum plays, it's a lot better than just like having them Pendulum and do a bunch of stupid stuff then do their normal summon. I also played Raigeki. I might main deck that too if I change things up, because if I don't go first, I really wish I had that against a Pendulum player who dropped like 5 monsters on me that I couldn't beat down. So I kind of want to work that into the main board. And then I also sided 2 Typhoons. It's really good against any deck that Pendulum. I didn't realize at first that you could use it on your opponent's turn in your hand until it happened to me, and I was just like, oh, that's really good. But I guess since it's a trap, you can do that. And it actually helped me win my mirror match because I set it and passed, and then when they drew for turn, I activated, got rid of their scale, and they just didn't have any more plays at that point. Chaos Trap Hole was there in case I played against any Monarchs. I didn't, but it was also there for BA, which I did play a lot of, and one of my games I won because they had nothing but a Dante, and I Chaos Trap Holed it away, and it pretty much ruined BA's day. And the last card I sided was Tornado. Played it in case I needed to side in the third one. I did it a couple times, like against, I believe it was Blue Eyes and Herald, just because it would just be another out to their monsters if I needed it. But yeah, that's pretty much my entire deck for the regional event. If I changed anything different, I might have main decked the Raigeki, and I would have definitely tried to play the Elfury in there to stop the many BA decks that I played against down there. But yeah, I had a pretty good day. It was my first ever top 4 at a regional. I got this awesome deck box, and I also got this nice playmat. Thanks for watching, and if you like the video, like it and subscribe to the channel to see more content from Crash Love Gaming, and I'll see you next time.